There's some disturbing things on the internet talking about Pixel 7, Pixel 7 Pro camera glass shattering. Yes, I've seen the reports. Looks like a handful or two of folks have spontaneous shattering of their camera lens. And this is Pixel 7, Pixel 7 Pro. It's not just one or the other. And it coincided, it seems, with this last week. And there are a lot of thoughts out there, a lot of theories, a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation. And the people that are suffering from this and the people reporting on it seem to think that it's some sort of a manufacturing defect. Not going to rule that out. I mean, I'm not like a safety bureau. I'm not somebody who investigates these things. But when you have a sample size that spontaneously shows up with the same issue, more than likely it's probably something to do with the phone and not something that somebody damaged it with. It looks very consistent across the board. Little circle punched out, shattered glass right over the lens. So, what do we make of this? Is this something that's concerning? Is it something we should be worried about? I don't really think so. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Hopefully I don't have to come back and take my foot out of my mouth. But for the people who have been impacted by this, it is a very big deal. As far as a systemic issue, I don't necessarily know that that's the case, because otherwise we'd see a lot more than just a handful or two. I know that people complain on Reddit, you see stuff on Twitter, and what I hope comes out of this process is that Google will open this up under the warranty, but it makes it very difficult. It makes it very difficult whenever you just spontaneously have a lens that shatters on a camera and then you say, okay, this is a warranty repair item. There are a lot of ways that you can shatter some glass on a camera lens. If you bump into something and your phone is facing outward, maybe it hits the side of a desk corner, maybe it hits the doorknob when you're walking out the door. Maybe, I don't know, you try to jump a chain link fence. I mean, I haven't done that in 20 years, but you never know. All people, different walks of life carry these phones around. What if you have, let's say you've got some keys in your pocket and it just happens to hit it the right way? So, yes, of course, Google from the get-go is probably going to not acknowledge this as being some sort of a defect. But from what I've seen, I did see someone had posted on Twitter, they had posted a screenshot from the Google support saying that they're aware of the issue. So, but just because they're aware of the issue doesn't mean that it is a issue for them. It's an issue for the people that are suffering from this. So, from this, I hope that Google will investigate it, and if they can find out that it is a defect, that they will repair this under the warranty for free. Because I've seen some reports from folks saying up to $400 to get it fixed because of they're replacing all this glass paneling. So, well, let's see what happens. But obviously, it's not a systemic issue because everybody's glass over their cameras did not just spontaneously shatter over the last week. There was a big event that transpired here in the U.S. over the last week, though, especially if you're in the Midwest, well, anywhere in the West, or sorry, in the middle of the U.S., down to the Southwest, Midwest. This big Arctic blast, I think it even had a name, the storm, it just kind of blanketed across the U.S. It's caused tremendous problems all over the place, especially for like Southwest Airlines having to cancel like 60-something, 70% of their flights for like a week and stranded all sorts of folks. And that's like the most horrible thing ever. People trying to travel, Christmas, trying to get places, get there, get back, luggage, families, took off work, used vacation days, rented cars, paid for hotels. That's horrible. That's really bad. So my heart goes out to them. But also that winter storm maybe had something to do with glass. Because if you know anything about, I guess, thermodynamics, if that's even the right subject to fall under, I never took thermodynamics, but I know one thing. If you get things, when it comes to like certain types of glass or different containers, even ceramics, if you rapidly change temperatures from one to the other, they can possibly shatter. So like if you were to not have a tempered glass and you got some really hot water, like boiling water, and put it in the glass, it could shatter it. Or if you had a cold glass and then you put some really hot water in it, put some hot coffee in it, it could shatter it. So it dropped really low. And here in Houston, it was like 15 degrees. The day before, it was like 70 degrees. So things are crazy. It's back up to like 80 degrees again here. All over the U.S., people were experiencing this like generational snowstorm. It's quite possible that because of those frigid temperatures, I even saw a report from someone saying, oh yeah, it was like 6 degrees, and then I went outside and it was like negative 12, and next thing I know, I reach into my pocket and, well, the glass was broken over my camera. So there may be a correlation there. I think there's enough there to say maybe there's a correlation. It's not something that I would just outright deny. But like I said, we're looking at a handful sample size, maybe a couple dozen people. Not trying to diminish this, not saying it's not real, not saying it's not their problem, but for the general population, I don't think that this is a serious issue. but for the people who are affected or might be affected in the future, because this is a small sample size. We're at the beginning of winter, folks. It could get really, really cold. Like, wait till it's already 0 and 30 degrees outside, and then if we get one of these Arctic things come through. We had a horrible freeze here in Houston a few years ago, shattered water pipes in people's houses all over the state, and almost shut down the power grid. Like, it was really bad. We were not prepared for it. So, talking about phones, yeah, if you go from 80 degrees, let's say it's 70 degrees inside your house, and then you go outside and instantly it's 0, I think we'll find a lot more people having that problem. So looking forward, that would give more evidence for Google so that you could definitely say, okay, this is a manufacturer defect. There's a quality control issue here. There's a defect with the glass. We need to get this fixed. So hopefully, if this is really a problem with the phone, it will happen more as the winter goes on. And then ideally, people can get their phone fixed for free. But of course, that doesn't do anything now. I mean, if you're sitting there with the phone now that has a broken piece of glass on it, you're probably gonna have to pay for it. So my hope would be maybe if Google does acknowledge at some point this is a problem, hopefully they would retroactively reimburse you for that. I don't know. I don't know how their process works, but I wanted to make folks aware of this because I've had a couple people pop up in the comments and say, hey, did you see where the Pixel camera glass is shattering? And I was like, well, you said something about it. So I went and I looked, and it seems a couple more avenues are reporting on it now. So maybe it's made a little bit more mainstream publicity. It's been brought to Google's attention. From what I've seen, Google has acknowledged that it's an issue. But to this point, yeah, they have not made a determination. And hopefully they'll make a determination sooner than later. Because the biggest thing is, okay, we got a small sample size now. If this snowballs, 'tis the season, right? It's cold and snowy in winter outside. If this snowballs and then it's 1,000 people, you want to have already discovered, okay, this is a defect. What are we going to do? What's our process so people can get this replaced for free and not have to pay out of pocket? You know how frustrating it would be to have a phone you paid $4.99 or $5.99 for, and then you got to spend $400 to fix the glass over your camera, and you got to fix it. One, it's a safety hazard. You might cut yourself. It might get hung up on your pants and your clothes, might injure you, and that would be sucky, right? And then on top of that, it exposes the camera. So then you're looking at potential camera damage. You're also looking at the sealed environment is no longer sealed. That could compromise the integrity of your phone. No longer IP68. What if you drop it in the water? What if moisture gets in there and it shorts something out, right? So you pretty much have to fix it. But the only avenue right now seems like it's very expensive to fix it versus what the actual cost of the phone is. So going back, my original idea on this is I don't think it's a major problem for most people carrying a Pixel 7 or 7 Pro. Hopefully, Google will investigate this thoroughly, come to a determination quickly, so that way they can set up a process for folks to get their phones fixed, and then finally implement that and move on and hopefully not have this problem anymore. So we'll see. I think the next couple of weeks will probably be telling, especially if we get another major front, or especially northern tier folks. You live in New York, you live in Michigan, you live in Minnesota, you live in Alaska, and it's crazy cold, and you're rocking a Pixel. I can almost say with certainty that if this is a quality assurance issue, if it is a manufacturer's defect, it will most certainly be more of an appearance that we'll start to find out about. And like I said, that right there is evidence. If we get more of that happening, that's going to lend itself more towards Google coming up with a solution. So I hope that they find it spontaneously on their own investigation and more people don't have to suffer before we get there. But we'll see what happens with the whole thing. But I still have lots of confidence in the phone. I'm not too worried about it, but I do feel awful for people who are suffering from this with their phone, because definitely that's not cool. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, please go to the comment section. I'll get back with you. If you have any theories, you want to talk about it, if you're an expert on thermodynamics or the structural integrity of glass, then please sound off. I'd love to get some expert feedback and opinion in here so we can discuss it. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.